Okay, so we're going to continue with question number 9. The other video got cut off, so I'm going to continue on this video. It says Mr. Gaines wants to save the same amount for 9 months to purchase a new motor for his boat. The motor costs $4,257. How much will he need to save each month? So, boys and girls, you would do your get, and we're going to do our UPSI without doing our UPSI chart. So, I would do my get, and I would fill in with the information that I do know. So I know that the total amount the motor costs is $4,257. I also know that he wants to save for 9 months. And if we look at our question, they're asking how much he has to save in each month. So boys and girls, you need to know that each is what we're looking for. So our operation is going to be division. And our groups is 9 because it's 9 months. So I went ahead and did 9 calendar. So it's like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and September. So from January to September is when he's going to save for his boat. So if I were to write this in a number sentence, it would be 4,257 divided by 9. However, it is easier for us to see it inside our division box. And remember that your total is always going to be your dividend, which is inside the box, and your either groups or your each is going to be your divisor, which is your number outside of the box. And your quotient is your total, and it goes on top of the division box. So would he have to save 673 per month, 447, 570, or 473? Remember that if you don't feel comfortable with division and the question is multiple choice and you feel comfortable with multiplication, you could actually multiply. So you would be able to multiply the answer choices times 9 and see which of the answer choices gives you a total of 4,257. So you have 2 options on how to solve this problem. Let's go to question 10. So it says use distributive property to solve. Find the missing numbers to find the quotient of 184 divided by 8. So remember that we're always going to distribute for the distributive property the larger number, which is our dividend. And they already started it out for us. They said 184 minus 160 equals something. So for that one, I'm going to solve it here on the side. 184 minus 160. So I get a total of 24. So that means the other number for the distributive property is going to be 24. So I'm going to have 160 plus 24. I need to make sure that it does add up and equal 184. So now, boys and girls, what you're going to do is, this is your divisor. That's what you're going to be dividing by. So that you should put there. And this is already set up for you. And now you would just divide. You would have to divide 160 divided by 8 and 24 divided by 8. I would recommend you write the multiples of 8 on the side. I'm only going to go up to there and write 8 times 1 equals 8, 8 times 2 equals 16, 8 times 3 equals 24, 8 times 4 equals 32, and 8 times 5 equals 40. So this is going to help you solve 160 divided by 8 and 24 divided by 8. Once you know what those quotients are, you add them up and you get your final quotient for 184 divided by 8. Question 11 says, Mrs. Marin recorded the number of tickets sold each day for 3 basketball playoff games on the table below. It says, how many tickets were sold for the 3 basketball games? So, boys and girls, here are your 3 basketball games. So if we want to find the total amount of tickets sold for the 3 days, what are you going to have to do to those numbers? We're going to have to add them up. So is the sum of those 3 days for tickets sold 110,841 107,922, 109,741, or D, 107,764. So remember, you have to make sure that they line up. So your comma would line up since you don't have a decimal here. You find the sum, and that is going to be your answer. And the last question. I need you to pay extra close attention because I know we haven't gone over graphs, so I'm going to teach you the strategy. So it says Bexar Elementary School collected used books to donate to children's hospitals. The graph below shows the number of books donated by each grade level. Based on the graph, how many more books were donated by kindergarten and first grade than fifth grade? Okay, so when we do a graph, we use a strategy called I-Talks. The I stands for the information or introduction, which is always going to be this couple of sentences that are on top of your graph. We're going to put those in a bubble. The T stands for title. You're going to go ahead and circle your title. In this case, our title for this graph is books donated. So I'm going to go ahead and circle that. I'm going to put a little arrow. The A stands for all labels. So all the labels of your graph, you're going to put inside a box so you know what they're talking about. In this side, you can get confused because here there's words and the grade levels plus grade. So the label for this side of the graph is grade. So I'm going to box in grade. And the label for this side of the graph is number of books. So my two labels are grade and number of books. The K stands for key. In this case, we do not have a key. And the S stands for scale. So what is the graph going by? If I look at the graph, I would think that it's going by 8. However, do you see this line in the middle of each of the numbers written in? That means that it's not going by 8. That's a misconception. It's actually going by 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, 64, and 68 is where I'm going to stop because I know that my graph does not go beyond that. So my scale is going by 4s. So you have to check if there's a line between 0 and 8 or 0 and that next number. That means that it's going to the middle. Okay, so your next step, boys and girls, is figuring out the amount that kindergarten books that were donated. So if I look here, I go down, and I see that it is not quite at 68, but it's not at 64, it's in the middle. So that means that 66 books were donated by kindergarten. And we circle it, and it looks now like a lollipop. First grade, there was 40 books donated, and I'm going to lollipop. Second grade was 42 because it's between 40 and 44. Third grade was 52. Fourth was 36. And fifth grade was 48. So they are asking how many more books were donated by kindergarten. So kindergarten donated 66. And first grade, which was 40, then fifth grade. And fifth grade donated 48 books. So what we have to do is find the sum of these two grade levels. So we would have to add 66 plus 40. Your sum, what you're going to do next is find that sum. Once you find that sum, you're going to have to subtract 48 from it because you're having to find the difference between the 2 grade levels and 5th grade. So once you find the difference, that is going to be how many more books. Were donated from kinder and 1st grade. So is it 106 because 66 plus 40 equals 106? Is it 104 because 64 plus 40 equals 104? Is it 58 because 66 plus 40 equals 106 and 106 minus 48 equals 58? Or is it J, 56 because 64 plus 40 equals 104 and 104 minus 48 equals 56? So you need to look at the steps that I showed you. Remember, we added kinder and 1st, and that number that you find, that sum, you have to subtract 48 to find the difference of how many more books they donate than 5th grade.